Okay, let's continue our exploration with this series discussing if statements. And I think that because we're trying to work around the case when our if statement condition is false, and that was basically where we started making our changes in the previous video. So we can actually handle this as two separate if cases, if statements, and we could try something like this. I will simply just make an update to this code, and so what changed? Okay. First of all, I just kept the same logic, and I say if number is greater than 0, then this is a positive number. Negative number of the same magnitude is such and such. We format, we produce the negative number, and I simply added another if statement and say that this is a negative number. Positive number of the same magnitude is such and such, and this time I use my format in line right next to the string, the formatting string. And if you read our online book, this is a technique that was in detail discussed in the previous chapter of our online book, in chapter number 5. All right, so with this change, which is again pretty simple, we have two conditions that we're trying to handle. Let's run the code and test both positive and negative inputs. Let's clear screen and try running it. So number 5 says positive, looks good. So let's try again. And this time a negative 5, and it just simply reports that you entered negative number. So both of these if statements producing results as expected. What really has changed here is that we're no longer trying to make any assumptions that the user would be entering negative number or a positive number, and the creation of the string variable named negative, right, has now moved back inside the first if statement block, because this is where it gets used. Right, so it gets used here, gets created, we have the formatting done, and then we immediately print it, and we really don't need to use it anywhere else. So it's appropriate to keep it right inside this first if statement block. And we also added, of course, the second if statement to deal specifically with negative inputs. So this is the condition. So this is great, but now we can also continue with this approach and also add a third case. So this next if statement, I guess, can help us to make a decision and produce correct result when the input is 0. Okay, so I guess I can just copy and paste and try trying to use the comparison with 0 and say that's a 0. Okay, so that's pretty easy. We can run again. And we can start with 0. That's a 0. Very good. Positive. Again, I need to start the program first. Okay, positive input looks good, and negative input also, I hope, looks good in this version of our program.